Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the May 2021 report card. I am making this a separate video this month because, well, I ended up inking up 16 pens and it's just too much to cover if I glump it all into my my June inked pens. So hopefully you won't mind that, but this will be all about me talking about how these pens went, and we'll also have some discussion about my favorites, my favorite pens, as well as the inks that worked out the best. So hopefully it'll give you a little something to think about. So the first one here is the Hongdian, the purple pen with the Fude nib, and this was like an A++. I'm on my second fill, and I do think I'm almost almost completed. Yeah, it's like it's just getting almost done, and I filled it right up twice, so it's been really fantastic for my large writing. I find that wide width of the Fude nib, for me, it's just perfect. So that has been wonderful. And then the next one was the little Moonman pen, and you saw me on my on my video where I talked about the 4 pens I worked on. This was one where I started with the fine nib in here with the Sailor Manyo Akebi, and I did swap the nib to a broad nib, and after that I've been using it more. I want to pick it up more because it does really show off, well, this is in the TWSBI Go, but it really shows off the ink better, and I just am a lot happier with it since I swapped the nib. So I gave that an A. Yeah, I just love it. Now, I'm pretty sure, and we'll talk about this later, that I'm going to have some work to do to get that the cap cleaned, but it's overdue. It's time for me to step up my cleaning game anyway, so that needs to happen. So the next pen of this initial 8 was the Zenzoi, the beautiful lavender and rose gold with a little number 5 nib, and I swapped the nib on it after I found out that the tines were slightly misaligned, and I didn't really like the fine nib anyway. I just put the broad TWSBI nib on it, and I also switched ink, I think. Yeah, I put in here now, I've got, instead of the darker purple, Herbin Poussiere de Lune, which I really love, but I didn't love it in this pen for some reason. I ended up putting in the Diamine Amazing Amethyst. I seem to be missing a notebook here. That notebook would help me out, so let me grab that. Okay, so in here, in the currently inked, I did have a larger area where I wrote with this pen. Gosh, I hope our lighting is a little funny, but the Diamine Amazing Amethyst just turned out a lot better. And it was maybe a little dark here, but then it starts getting into itself down here. I really like that, and that has made me pick it up more for letter writing. So, yeah, so that was excellent. And then next was the little vintage pen, Reform 4328. with the Bock nib. It's a nice soft nib. And I had issues with this pen before, a little bit with ink flow, but this ink really likes this pen, and they get along well together. It's the Lambora Slate. And so I did notice that when I would slow down and write just a little bit slower, the pen keeps up just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just needs to have time to, this is a little piston filler. It needs to have time, and I'm such a quick writer, so there's something that can be very therapeutic, actually, to just slow right down. I think I wrote with this in here too, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I've gotten a little bit more than I could deal with this month because I went and did so many pens. But I know what happened. It was because April, I did 30 inks, 30 days. And so I was repetitively using all my Lamis, which I love, Lamy Safari, Lamy Vista, and Lamy All-Star with broad nibs, and I just got bored. And so I wanted every pen I own, I guess, to be inked up this month. But I did give that an A. That was a very good combination. And then next, I was just running my replacement Platinum 3776 through the paces just to make sure that the replacement pen was fine, and it was great. It is great. I think I'd be a little more excited about a brighter color, but I still gave it an A+, and I love the pen, and it's just as smooth as the other one. They wanted the whole the whole pen back and they replaced the whole thing. So when I had the section crack in it, but that went really well, and now I know by trying it that it's fine. Better than fine. It's a really nice pen, but I'm a little bit jumpy with it because I want to be really careful. I don't know how I cracked the other one, so I don't want it to happen again. But other than that, okay, so next was the Monteverde MVP, this little pocket pen. I love this. I didn't love it at first because I didn't like the nib, and I think that Lamy Turquoise was a little too dry for it, but Diamine Aqua Lagoon was excellent. And I know I have that in here because we already talked about this quite a bit if you've been following me, but you may not have seen all of what I did. Wow. It's in here. It's just further back than I thought. Oh, okay, that was the whole process, getting the nib smoothed. Working on that, and then it turns up here. Well, this is a lighter ink than the Lamy. I really like the Lamy Turquoise shade, but this Diamine Aqua Lagoon flows really, really well. And after nib smoothing and tuning, it writes like a nice juicy medium. It's a broad nib, but I'm thinking that if I go in and really take my time and try opening up the tines just a little bit, I might be able to get that writing like a broad nib, even though it doesn't really look like one, so I don't want to get too carried away. But I do have the brass shims. I just a little bit more, I'm a little, not scared, chicken of using that, but I have used it, and it has worked before. This pen, though, isn't a really cheap pen. It was, I don't know, between $20 and $30, and I don't want to ruin it. But anyway, I probably will try it on a day that I have lots of patience and a little extra time. Maybe the next rainy day. I gave it a B+. B+. Well, right now I'd give it an A, so I wonder what I was thinking at that very moment that I wrote it down. I said after nib smoothing, it's a great pocket pen. Oh, I just realized. And some people don't like to just hear me talk, so if that's you, oh dear. I should have done a warning label at the beginning or something. Oh, okay. Hopefully you clue in pretty quickly. So the next pen is the Opus 88. Oh, I left that shut-off valve open. Probably need to keep it closed. It's the Kolaro Demonstrator. And I love this pen. The only pen in my collection that I love more than this pen is the Omar. And I'm going to be working on this in terms of pinpointing exactly what it is, whether it's the aesthetics or the grip is similar, the nib is the same. So I'm going to be thinking about that, and maybe I'll do a video comparing them. And it's got the same capacity, and it's just gorgeous. And this has that bonus of being able to take the you guys pointed out to me that the the Pilot Parallel nib units will fit into this. Well, of course, I don't want to do that right now because this is my only one of this style and size that would take it, and I really like my broad nib, but that's so good to know. But it's an A++. I just love it, and I love this ink too, the Parker Green, the modern, that was sent by a pen friend. So it's not available to purchase, I guess, right now, but it's really worth it for me to compare ink tiles. So I have sent off that ink tile along with 17 others to Matt for the website, for inkswatch.com. I've been very negligent about that, and I'm determined over the summer to try to catch up, filling in wherever I have an ink tile that is not on there yet. That's my fault there for just getting so distracted. So we've got the tie there going so far, but let's go ahead and continue. I've got one more from this initial 8, and that was the little silver Genhao 85. I love this pen, but I will admit it's the look of it, and more than it was the nib. The nib is a extra fine, and I told myself, are you sure you want this pen? But it did a lot better when I changed the ink to Rohrer Klinger Cassia from the Parker Quink Blue Black. It wasn't that it was really dry with the Parker Quink, but the Rohrer Klinger Cassia ink is exceptional. It really flows out of there better. Like when I see it drying, I see that it takes longer for that to dry. So that gives me a smoother experience despite the fact it's an extra fine. So, but I still gave it a B. I'm still acting up. Because there's no reason why that shouldn't get an A if you like a fine nib. Because even though it says extra fine, it's not a Japanese fine or extra fine. So, okay. So having kind of a quick overview of that, I wanted to talk about my favorite inks from this. So there are 3 here. Let's see if I'm getting this right. Yeah. So Lambora Slate, I love this gray. This is gorgeous. This was sent, the sample was sent by pen friend Annie, and it was part of the Celtic series, and just gorgeous. And also pen friend Matthew sent me more of that, so I've just been really blessed with that sample. Or it's a large sample still that I have left. Okay, so and I'm gonna get all mixed up probably, because I know, okay, on this one here, it was pen friend Leah that sent Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties, and then I bought a bottle. And it's funny because I thought, well, maybe these two are just alike, and that's why I like them, but they really have distinguishing features. Sailor Manyo Akebi is a gorgeous, and it becomes more magenta. And Purple Mountain Majesties is just much more purple, of what I would think of as purple, but they're just gorgeous in their own right. But if I had to choose between these two, I now realize I would choose the Noodlers, because when you take everything into account, everything, it'd be hard to choose, and I don't have to choose, so that's not fair. But when I think about the wonderful price and the behavior of this ink, how it flows and how purpley delicious it is, you know, I'd be perfectly, if I had to choose, I would choose this one, a 3-ounce bottle for like whatever it is, $12.50, or it's probably more now, but I'm not sure. So those were my 3 favorite inks. But I also was really crazy about the Parker Green. I just don't have it because I sent the actual tiles to him because I'm having trouble with my scanner. So that was something I wanted to note. So number 1, oh, number 1 pen. That's hard. That's hard because it was such a tie between the two. And they're so different. Of course, if I had to choose between these two, I would choose the Opus 88. But there's something about how that nib makes my writing look that I am thrilled to have this pen. This was sent by pen friend Sharon. I never would have had it on my radar. I can guarantee it was seeing my writing in it that did it for me. So, yeah, I'm Chicken Little. I can't decide between the two. But I suppose if I just had to, like, if I could only grab one pen out of these 8, it would be the Opus 88. So, okay. So, next, I did 8 more. That's why I'm having to do this as a separate video. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I did 8 more, and this was because I wanted to see this and that and the other thing. So, I did take the TWSBI Go and put, this is a broad nib. I put the Sailor Manyo Akebi in here so I could see it. Then I realized, well, that was just brilliant. I ended up, anyway, putting a broad nib on the little Moonman, which is now taking a hike, I guess. What did I do with it? It's supposed to be right here. It's not, it's invisible. It lives in his little rickshaw case. So I've got 2 number 5 broad nibs with Sailor Manyo Akebi, but I love the ink, and I love having a little pocket pen to carry everywhere too, so that's not going to get cleaned right away. This one will, but the pocket pen won't. So I gave it an A, and I said this is how I love to see this ink. Yeah, so just as that's the Sailor Manyo Akebi, which I love. Okay, and then I thought, well, everybody's always talking about these two, how much alike they are. And I initially didn't think they were, but wow, they really are. I have got somewhere, should be a lot more organized than this. I've got a proof too somewhere where I wrote with both of them. I wonder if I can find it, or it'll take an act of Congress. Or maybe I just did that in my dreams. Oh, I know where it is. It's in a pen pal letter sent off to Australia. Okay, so I wrote... That's ridiculous. I wrote first, like with the Sailor Manyo Akebi, half a page, and then the second half of the page, I remember now, with the Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo. granted, that's a TWSBI broad nib and then a Lamy broad nib, but they were very much alike. They were very much alike, but I still, if I had to choose a bottle, it would be the Sailor. And it's really hard for me to understand exactly why. They both have a little bit of gold sheen. It shows up more here, like right there, and across the swatch a little bit. Of course, this one's older, so. And then on the Akebi, it shows up more in just general sheen across the tile. So I don't know, but I do know that I was super happy with both, and that's the Lamy Vista, which is here. And I'll probably, you know, write this dry too. Oh my goodness, June's going to be interesting, but I'm much more focused for June, and I've got it out of my system, this extra inking, I think. So they both got an A, and I like them both, but I do still pinpoint back to that Sailor ink as my favorite. With the difficulty of understanding fully why, because they're both excellent. So next, I got my Jinhao X750 with a Goulet broad nib, and I put Robert Oster bronze. Let's get that tile out too, so we can kind of look at it. To me, I see it as green, and it's gorgeous, and it's really flowy. I love it. And I love what it does when you add water. So any artist, I just really, really think it's gorgeous on watercolor paper. It does amazing crinkly things even on the Tomoe River paper when you add water to it to do a little water test. I said, such a nice ink. Very, very nice. And Goulet broad nib. I love this pen. This is one of my favorites. And that particular nib is one of my favorites too. Okay, so next I wanted to see the Robert Oster and Gold Antiqua in a broad nib, but for some reason I kept thinking about this pen. I knew the nib's a broad nib and it's a little bit soft, so I figured I'd get a little variation or quite a bit of ink pooling here and there, and it's really nice. I didn't even have sample left of this one because I had passed it on to a pen friend, but I ordered a sample of Gold Antiqua, and I ordered a bottle of Robert Oster bronze, and I ended up getting, I'm going to keep the innocent where this happened at, because it was just a mistake. I ended up getting a bottle of Antiqua and a sample of Antiqua, but they made it right with me, and I ended up with a bottle of each and paid just a portion of it. And, you know, we met in the middle because it was an innocent mistake. So I now have a bottle of each, and that wasn't planned, but I thought, well, let's get going here and look at it again and see, you know, and they are different. They're quite a bit different. Let's see. Oh, but I gave it a B+ in the Magnum. I said I'd like to see it better in a number 6 nib. Yeah, that to me was not finding the right pen, the right place, or quick enough or something like that. So that's my fault. But these two inks are intriguing me, and I love how they behave, so. Okay, then next was the big excitement of finally getting a Rotring core with a XL nib, which writes like a medium. That's fine though. Who knows how they decided to put the sizes? I think it was Mike from Ink Dependence said it. I don't know why it's a t-shirt size, but I thought that was funny. So I put TWSBI Royal Purple in there. And I love this pen and the look and the style. I said the nib was somewhat dry, so attention to a better ink match is needed. Okay, that's too soon for me to generalize and say the nib is somewhat dry, because it's the first fill in this, you know, it's the first attempt. So I think maybe when I wrote this, I should have thought that through a little better. But I'll be running lots of different colors through here. I don't know where we're at right now for ink. Well, and it's difficult to see too. I've definitely used, let's see. Yeah, there's a little left, so we'll see. And we'll also see how long it likes to stay, you know, without drying out. So that's a cool thing too. But lots of fun. This pen is just so much fun to look at. It's super, super fun. It makes me happy. So even though, you know, it's a steel nib that I have that experience all the time, it's not a new writing experience. It's just so much fun. So I'm going to keep that handy because I had a couple more notes to say about the pens, I think. Okay, and then the Rotring, let's see, little black pen. This one was just an impulse ink up. I put Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties. I gave it a B-. A nice little writer, slim section but nice. Nib somewhat dry. Okay, I could say that with this ink because I'm really familiar. Yeah, if it may need just a little bit, but that's a nice nib. That might need just something. Or even just a floss, you know, the nib itself, the tines in between. Who knows? But it's really nice, though. And that's being really nitpicky on that pen. I don't know what kind of mood I was in when I gave these grades. These students aren't going to be happy. Okay, next was the Parker Vector. Let's see. I might not have pulled that out because I have it in my... I got to grab it. Okay, Parker Vector was hiding. This is the second fill in here. And I did put in Diamine Red Dragon. And I love this pen. Okay, I mixed these two up. So we have to look at the grade here for the Parker Vector. I keep it in my little bullet journaling pen case right next to my little pencil, which is not here either, but they fit in one slot of my little Nock Tallulah. And that just makes it really handy if I want to do, like, not grading, but writing in my little bullet journal or my daily journal or anywhere else, that because I carry that pen case with me just about everywhere. So that's really confusing. It got switched around. But I don't intend to clean this out. I mean, I already did. I cleaned it out and put in the Diamine Red Dragon, and I'm loving it. Okay, and that's a medium nib. I don't know if I said that. Yeah, that's a nice little medium nib with a converter, so it's handy as heck. And it's, you know, it works to its advantage that it's so slim. It fits anywhere and doesn't take up much space. Okay, so last but not least, oh, this is where I tell on myself. I got another one of these pens. Oh my God, I need my head examined, but I just couldn't pass it up. I just couldn't. So this is the Rotring Core Rubidium. The other one is the Titanium. So this is it, I promise. Myself and you, this is it. But I do love these, and I just couldn't resist. When I saw it came with another pen. I'll have to do a separate video on this, though. It came with the ballpoint, too, and oh my goodness. Okay, so in here, Colorverse Redshift. This has been excellent. I put B+. Love this pen, my second Rotring. This ink is great for it. Okay, yeah, because remember, we're switching. Okay, and I made a note to myself, add more stub nibs for June, and I did that, but that'll be a video I do tomorrow. This is actually May 30th, 2021, and tomorrow I'll be doing the inked pens. Best writer. Okay, out of these, the best writer, the one I would put at number 1 is the TWSBI Go with the Sailor Akebi, and then the most fun, of course, from both sections are the Rotring Core. I'm just like a little kid with them. I just love them. But I wanted to do one more thing. I want to tell you which pen was the most improved. So the most improved award goes to the Monteverde MVP after having the nib work and the change in ink. So that was 2 things. Remember, I changed the ink first and tried it out to see if it was just the ink. But no, the nib was definitely writing dry. So there you have it. That's how it came out. And like I said, I really feel like the Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties just took the cake. And it surprised me because I would have told you going in, nothing could change my mind about Sailor Akebi being number 1. And I still love it. But definitely the Purple Mountain Majesties, I kind of forgot how much I love that ink. So this is it, because I have rambled on so long I can just imagine the comments. But okay, also these 2, I just love these, and I've just begun exploring them. I want to see each one in a stub nib, but it probably won't be June because I've got a full plate that's coming up for June. So I'll see you on the next video, and I'd love to hear anything you have to say. nice things. No. And I mean, in terms of like what you're inking up and what happened to you in May, how did your pen and ink situation work out? And did you have some favorites like I did? So I'll see you next time, and stay safe and happy and healthy. Bye for now.